Dear soon-to-be graduates, ladies and gentlemen, members of faculty, and all those who join us on live stream. This ceremony should have taken place somewhere else and at a different time. I am happy that it is due to you and to the special spirit of this academy that we can do it here and can do it now. You have deserved this. I would ask you on this very special day to remember that this is part of the spirit, that we can be here in present after this complicated year. And I would ask you, like Mahalia Jackson said, go tell it on the mountain. It is one of the great moments at the end of each academic year when I say my welcome to you, to the students who will in a few moments become graduates of the Diplomatic Academy, also to your families and friends, parts of our faculty also here, and our staff, sponsors, cooperation partners. And it is a special pleasure for me to welcome you not only as director of the Diplomatische Akademie, Vienna School of International Studies, École des Hautes Études Internationales de Vienne, but also as the academic director of the diploma program, being a graduate of this program myself. You are much faster than I was. It took me 2 years to finish my diploma program. With you, it was 1 year. But my years here as a student at this academy have decisively shaped my professional life in numerous ways, and I hope you experienced something similar. I lived and studied in an exhilarating community of young people from all ways of the world, all corners of the earth, and I acquired here the prerequisites for my career in the diplomatic service. But not only for this, I learned how creative diversity can be. And I'm mentioning this because you as a program have decided to call your course, to give it the motto, United in Diversity. And you were yourself a diverse group, 27 students from, I've got it here, 15 different countries. By the way, more female than male, 17 to 10. I like that. I still like that, but I'm looking forward to the time when we no longer have to mention this. But it's still a long way to go. Take part in making it very natural that there is a good equal division. You were of different age, between 24 and 40 years old. The male, hopefully, mainly. You come from Austria, Bulgaria, China, Czech Republic, France, Italy, Kyrgyzstan, Senegal, Russia, Poland, I don't mention all of it, UK, US, and you had various previous studies. As usual here at our place, language, law, journalism, communication science, political science, history, psychology. But of course, diversity means much more, and you know this maybe better than I do. It means more than statistics. It means different points of views, different political opinions, and this is also part of what studying at the Diplomatic Academy means. Living and working with people that have different backgrounds, come from different countries, and have also different ways of thinking. I hope you learned also from this difference. And I hope that you perceive this as a real asset and that it broadens your horizon and your mind. Building of character, that's what we tried during this year and what we try here at the Academy. You are the class of 2020, of a year in which the pandemic changed almost everything. As I mentioned, even the time and place of this ceremony. But today, we are here. It feels really good to see you in person. I'm confident that we have the chance of a lifetime to learn something. The chance of a lifetime to learn something special. Don't accept a new normal. Ask for a better normal. There's a chance to ask for a better normal now. I'm proud of you that despite all the difficulties the lockdown situation posed on us, you finished your studies in time. And I'm happy that we can be here today to celebrate your graduation. Better late than never. Some people say again, we live in interesting times. We were caught by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemics during your and our academic year. Within a very short time frame, we managed to complete the transition to online teaching and learning, and the academic year could be regularly completed. And this was thanks to your flexibility and also the flexibility of our faculty and our staff here at the Academy. We kept focusing our efforts on delivering the best possible teaching and learning environment. I hope we managed as far as possible. And this was only possible, and I would especially like to mention it here, due to the DASI again, who maintained the dialogue and continuous communication with all members of our community. And this has been a key element of the work. So again, you, a group from the students working with us. I know that now, at the end of this study year, the situation on the career market is not too promising. That's the way it is. But I'm sure that we tried to provide you with the best perspectives possible. And for better or for worse, you do know now what disruption may look like. Not much, I think, can surprise you in the way you deal with your surroundings, with colleagues, friends, all this idea of distancing, which I still reject to be called social distancing. It's physical distancing that we have to get used to at the moment. I hope and I know you made an extensive use also of our manifold career services. This is an important part of preparing you for what's coming. You did a lot of studies, and Markus Kornprobst will talk a little bit about this. But you did not only study all these academic fields, and we are proud that we have these 4 different departments, and that we lay enormous stress on history, by the way. I'm mentioning this again at the end of the year, what I said, I think, at the beginning. And we are proud that you can now discuss and evaluate these topics in different languages, English, German, French. That's important. And I think your activities also in the DASI, in the initiative, in the societies you participated, is something which, in spite of the difficulties, you have to remember. You are a class where there was still a Christmas extravaganza. This year, we simply can't do this. Maybe a different Christmas extravaganza, but not the one that you have experienced. You were a class which could talk about the glorious moment, organizing, some of you directly involved, a charity ball. And this is the glorious moment that you have achieved, but when you prepared the charity ball, we didn't think about what would happen afterwards. So again, this year, the charity ball cannot take place here at this academy. You were able to practice diplomacy even with the participation of our Austrian federal president during the DASICon about climate coaction. Again, I don't think that we can have at the moment such a conference. And the new class, when we had inauguration, even our festive speaker, our foreign minister, could not attend in present here. It could only be done via the internet. You attended public events, and I hope you remember also these sort of public events with presidents, foreign ministers, EU commissioners, our own scientific conference. So a lot of activities outside of the normal curriculum. And you even wrote your polemics online and also in print. And I'm proud that you are doing your own student magazine. I don't mention all the other activities, the sports committees, the debating societies, the choir. The choir is an important part of also, I think, the social life here. And I should not forget the events. The director maybe shouldn't know all the details about the Halloween party, the Oktoberfest, I think it's called, Tipsy Thursdays. There's a rumor that they existed. Of course, also the COVID-19 situation caused some casualties, above all the study trips. And also the legendary Sommerfest, but I promise we try next summer to have a Sommerfest where you are invited as TA alumni. I hope that you stay part of this community. I hope that you have understood that a truly international family at this alma mater, which is now your alma mater also, is an essential part of what we are aiming at. So those of you who haven't done so, please join the club DA and use the opportunities. Again, they are doing a lot of funny things also, as I know, and you will certainly help every year to lower the age group of the club DA. We would not be able to do that with some people I have to thank, really, I have to say. I have to thank certainly, first of all, our faculty who guided and taught you through your academic year at the Diplomatic Academy. You were also the last class of the official professorship of Werner Neudeck. Also something I think to remember. And we have our new head of the academic work here with us. Let me mention again, and I hope you have had the same feeling, that we try to bring the best teachers here to this place, wherever they live and work. And what's important to us is the student-teacher ratio. I guess I mentioned it also already at the beginning. There is no other Austrian academic place with such a good student-teacher ratio as we have. It's about 2.5 to 1, which is something special. I certainly also would have liked in person to thank our sponsors, which make the life possible for you and for us. But I will mention, also because we are online, that we are very thankful to the Austrian Foreign Ministry, because the public funds we receive is about 1/3 of our budget for the work that we can do here. But I also would like to thank the Organisation de la Francophonie, for instance. I would like to thank our partners in the Fulbright activities, and so on and so on. And it's about 30% of you who receive some sort of support, financial support, in the form of grants and scholarships. So I would like to thank all the sponsors for this. Among them, important, and I guess this is what makes this place so special, is of course the city of Vienna. The city of Vienna is on the one hand, very proud that we have activities like we have here at the Academy, and on the other hand, it's a partner also in partly financing what we do. And last but not least, some of them are here, your relatives, your parents, who I would like to mention at this place, and certainly also our staff. And Jenny, somewhere also over there, yes. I think you had most contact with Jenny. Not so much, God. And some of you enjoyed, obviously, your stay so much that you stay for another year. 4 of you were admitted to the second year of the MICE program. So welcome as MICE students. Look at some of them. Altogether, I hope you had a really interesting, rewarding, productive, and enjoyable academic year, in spite of everything. We are proud. We are proud of you. And I remember when I was in your position that I had the feeling, okay, there is something to be proud of, to have finished what you have finished now. As a diverse group of 27 altogether, passionate young people. You worked hard for this moment, so enjoy this ceremony. You will leave here as DA alumni, and please stay in the club DA, as I mentioned already. And especially, there are some among you who are at the moment actually meeting the challenge of the entrance examinations, the A préalable of the Austrian Foreign Ministry. And I wish the best of luck to those of you. I hope it's all positive. When I thought about this graduation speech for the ceremony, I checked the best class of 2020 graduation speeches I found on the internet. There are so many of them. All of them said there is no graduation, no real graduation. You may have heard that some academic institutions, they graduated in a drive-in cinema. Some of them organized it with robots. I think this was a Japanese case, so that there is no presence, really. But still, and I think this is very important, all of them had graduations, because it's something that you deserve and the institution deserves. And I found 2 of them which I quite liked. Not the one by Bill Gates, not even the one by Barack Obama, but one by Hillary Clinton and one by Malala Yousafzai. Hillary Clinton said one should give practical advice to students. And her practical pieces of practical advice are something which I fully underwrite, but maybe it's not enough. She said, good friends will get you through even the worst times, so stay in touch with them. Absolutely right. Please stay friends and get in touch with them. Always send thank you notes, she says. That's a very American advice. I'm not sure whether this is true for all around the world. She said, being polite is not the same as being politically correct. That sounds to me very right. And actually, this is what we in Austria are proud of, that we are more polite than politically correct. I'm not sure why you're laughing at this moment. But she said, so treat others as you want to be treated. That's almost philosophical. That's almost Kant. And then she said, learn how to sew on a button. Yes, okay. Maybe that is important also as a practical advice. Check the source of everything you read or share. That's something you learned from our faculty. The fact-checking. And then she gets very American. Vote in every single election, not just the presidential ones. I fully support this. Take part in politics as far as democracy allows us to take part. One sometimes go beyond it if you feel the need that there is something you have to protest against. Believe in science, including vaccinations. And then she finishes with, wash your hands. Is that enough for a graduation speech to be inspired? I'm not sure. But after all, she lost the elections. And the second speech I found interesting was by Malala. Malala was, you remember, she was almost killed by the Taliban. Then she went to the United Kingdom. I met her in Birmingham when she arrived from Pakistan. I wanted to bring her also to Austria, but she wanted to stay in the UK. And she then got the Peace Nobel Prize. And she is now working hard. And she was much more, less real, but much more important, I would say. She simply said, the class of 2020 won't be defined by what we lost to this virus, but by how we responded to it. The world is yours now, and I can't wait to see what you make of it. I follow Rabbi Malala. And you know, we at the Diplomatic Academy have no special slogan or motto. But when we discussed about a year ago what we should put on the front page of our brochure to invite new young students, we discussed it hard, and then we said, actually, it's about educating global leaders with all the background that we as a place and with all the people we have can offer to you. So now it says on the brochure, educating global leaders since 1754. I wish the class of 2020 and every one of you all the best for your future. Thank you.
Dear Director, dear Deputy Director, distinguished guests, dear parents and colleagues, and most of all, since this is your event, dear students. Let us reflect a little bit about your time at the Diplomatic Academy. And the first question, what you studied with us had something to do with diplomacy, so what then actually is diplomacy? And you'll see I won't always be 100% serious. I give you a few quotes. One of the quotes is that is about diplomacy having something to do with subtlety. So I quote the former Canadian Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson, "Diplomacy is letting someone else have your way." At times, diplomacy can also be rather unsubtle. So another quote, this time by an American comedian, Will Rogers, in the 1930s. "Diplomacy is the art of saying nice doggy till you find a rock." On an even more unorthodox note, there are arguments that propose that diplomacy requires rather unusual faculties. A diplomat, quote, "should drink in such a manner as not to lose control of his own faculties while endeavoring to loosen the self-control of others." This quote is from François de Callière on a book on diplomacy, which I think to this very day is the most widely cited book on diplomacy. We may get back to this question about what diplomacy is later. For the time being, let's move on to something else. How did you study international affairs? For this, I have a paraphrase from Johann Wolfgang Goethe for you. How would Faust start his famously despairing monologue if he had been a DA student? More precisely put, what would he say a day before exam week starts? It may go something like this. "Oh, I've studied economics, law, and history, and unfortunately also political science. Studied with great enthusiasm, but here I stand, poor fool, being just as wise as I was before." We know what happened to Faust. He made a pact with the devil to learn more about the world. You, I think, made a wiser choice. You made a pact with the Diplomatic Academy. You came here to learn more about international affairs, and you succeeded. Now, jokes aside, choose your next steps carefully. This means, I think, above all, two things. First, stay true to yourself. Reflect upon your own persuasions, but do not throw them out by the wayside for opportunistic reasons. This is what the famous sociologist Max Weber called Gesinnungsethik. And second, think carefully for how you can advance your own career and, at the same time, make sure that the world around you becomes more apt to address the problems that we all face together. And this is probably something that Weber would have called Verantwortungsethik. My take on this, which does not have to be yours, is actually quite easy. On the one hand, the world is becoming more and more interconnected and globalized. The spread of COVID, of course, is a really good example for this. So are a host of other phenomena ranging from climate change via migration and economic crises to democratic backsliding. On the other hand, much of the international toolbox we rely on to address these challenges remains too much stuck in the past. That is, in all sorts of nationalisms, ranging from ethnic nationalism to economic nationalism, Puritan postulates of sovereignty, over-reliance on great power politics, and so on. Needless to say, these two developments towards more interconnectedness and towards more inward looking at the same time do not fit together. Whatever you think about what is happening around you, don't just be in awe of what is happening politically, economically, and what have you. And certainly do not be afraid of it. Instead, shape it. Congratulations for what you have achieved. On behalf of our faculty, I wish you all the very best for your future.
Bentsen Sara, Norway. Burlica Anja, Serbia, Czech Republic. Carrier Clément, France. Diouf Pape Lat Fatim, Sénégal. Findais Helene, Austria. Gollob Bernhard Raimund Maria, Austria. Graf Sandra, Austria. Grossinger Ulrich, Austria. Jaritz Ida Maria, Austria. Cobalt Samar, Austria. Kulis Matej, Poland. Maiello Martina, Austria, Italy. Moscariatel Veronica, Italy. Nagel Piavera, Austria. Pürcher Paul, Austria. Saxel Michael, Austria. Shutka Bohdan, USA, Ukraine. Stanimirova Beatrice, Bulgaria. Wildenauer Anna Elena, Austria. Wittner Susanna, Austria. Woolley Juliet, UK, Austria. Wulz Birgit, Austria.
Much more nervous than I thought I would be, so please bear with me. First, I would like to thank you for the honor to stand here today and to share some of my thoughts from the past 12 months. Firstly, thank you to the faculty, Ambassador Brix, Deputy Director, Jenny, and Henry as well. You have been very, very nice to us. You have worked tirelessly to keep this place running from behind the scenes. I believe that I can speak for all of us when I say that this academic path we have followed at the Academy has been unique, challenging, enriching, fun, and instructive. We were very lucky to have inspiring and highly skilled teachers, both academics and professionals. And today we are, as Ambassador Brix already said, very lucky to have a graduation ceremony. And this year, this is not a given. So I really want to thank you for making this thing possible. It is a rite of passage, and I think we all needed this day today. Most of us say goodbye today, not all of us, but most of us say goodbye to the institution, which does not mean that we will say goodbye to each other. Friends and family, you have stood by us. You have stood by us in a unique time. You have made us laugh, you have been there for us, you have put a smile on our face when this has not always been easy. So thank you. When I say family, I don't only mean my parents and my partner, I mean the DLG family. 2 members of this family have worked tirelessly to help us, to make us heard, to make everyone feel comfortable. Bernhard and Bea, thank you very much. I would personally like to thank Martina for the nomination to stand here today, and for Juliet for helping me to write this speech. I want to greet those who were not able to be here physically today. We are all thinking of you, and we wish you were here. Ulan, Julia, Ko, Simone, and Cecilia. So the past 12 months. When I think about the past 12 months, I think about the bubble. and this is not only because I love bubbles, but let me explain. The DLG has been a unique experience, not only academically, but also personally in the sense of a community. What has felt as 100 years as a student, I have never had this. 27 people who did not know each other were thrown together in various classrooms. We became a very close network in a short period of time. We became friends, some at school, some at events, some in bars, some at rooftops in Thailand, and some even in elevators. I recently spoke to one of my friends about this, and we agreed that leaving this bubble has not been easy. We lived through an unprecedented time that no one could have predicted or expected. The bubble has been a place of security, of understanding, and of support. We have been able to discuss things, challenge each other, learn from each other, and it goes without saying that this has always been solved very diplomatically. So, being the solution-oriented people that we are, what did we do about this bubble ending much sooner than we expected to? As many of us could make their way back to Vienna, we rented this old house, haunted, I believe, in the middle of nowhere with super weird weapons inside. It was not easy to find, and some of us even ended up in the middle of a field trying to get there. We spent a weekend together celebrating our reunion and simply being happy about being together again. We cooked together, sat around bonfires, went for walks in the rain, shared a drink or two, maybe. And we ended this glorious trip with a wonderful lunch at a lake. That weekend is certainly one of my favorite memories, not just of the past 12 months, but in general. We represent 5 continents, 19 countries, 26 spoken languages, and for all I know, this might have increased since we last counted. Ladies and gentlemen, you see here the future of diplomacy, the future of whatever career we decide to embark on. I'm confident when I say that each and every one of us will help shape the world of tomorrow. It may take some time to find that path, it may take some wrong turns, it may take some roundabouts that seem endless, but we'll get there. And for those who haven't, there is always a space on Bernhard and my Prosecco farm. I would like you to stand up, my dear DLG peeps. Thank you. Writing this speech has been very emotional. Many said it would be the hardest thing you will ever have done. It wasn't. It took me on a very nice journey that we all lived through together, and I hope will continue and not end because we end our days at the Academy. This journey was only possible thanks to all of you. My colleagues, my friends, my DLG family, united in diversity, this is your moment. Every hour we spent at this Academy, every hour we spend in classrooms, every hour we spend studying on Zoom, failed Zoom calls, every exam, everything shaped this moment and led up to this moment. But mostly, please take this moment for the personal development that we have all accomplished in the past 12 months. The friend we have been to one another, the moral support we gave each other as a group, and simply for the wonderful person I've met in each and every one of you. Please, all of you, put your hands together and applaud this exceptional group of graduates from the Diplomatic Academy 2020.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to speak after you when I read your speech. Ambassador Brix, NY Kepler Schlesinger, distinguished members of the faculty, particularly Professor Kornprobst, and all of the members who would maybe join us via live stream afterwards, like Professor Arthur Rachwald from Montecito, the families of the 56th DLG program, my dear friends of the 56th DLG program, ladies and gentlemen. Well, so here we are. It seems like somehow it ends as it started 1 year ago. Here at the Festsaal, Bernhard talking too much. And it feels like yesterday that we met here. And I can still remember entering the premises here of the DA. The first person I met was Helene Findeis, our distinguished sunshine of the DLG, lining up for the registration with Michael Saxel, Sandra Graf, Susie Wittner, and all the others. And since then, hours and hours and hours and hours we spent together as the 56th DLG, here at the premises, but also outside. And when the inauguration in the second week happened, Ambassador Brix said something which you had to think quite often in the last year, to be absolutely honest. Ambassador Brix stood here and said, well, you will learn about history, you will learn about law, you will learn about international relations and all the academic subjects here. But you will particularly, and he raised his finger and said, you will particularly learn from each other. In this special environment, and you said it today too, with this very special spirit of the DA. Back then, frankly, I sat there and I thought, well, Ambassador Brix is a diplomat for lifetime. He knows what to say in the right moments. So I didn't pay too much attention to this sentence. And it took some time to realize what you really meant at this day. And how did I learn? Did I learn not just academically, but also from you here, standing in one of the first weeks together with Pap Diop, speaking about Western Africa, trade policy of Senegal and Mali, neighborhood policy, and other issues. Speaking with Ko, who can't be here today, who already served 10 years in the Foreign Ministry of China. Speaking with Ulan, our dear friend, who, and I am sure it will be 3 o'clock in the morning in Kyrgyzstan, but he will be there at the live stream. Ulan, my dear friend, who advised the president back in Kyrgyzstan. And we spoke about Central Asian issues and all the stuff about the post-Soviet space I never heard before. And Ulan was also the person who initially shaped the term of the DLG family. And Sarah, I couldn't agree more with everything you said. It feels like having here a second family. And you know, for me personally, I'm living here since 1 year at the premises at the DA in the 3rd floor. For me personally, it somehow includes also the staff of the DA. Remembering numerous moments where I met Ambassador Brix in the elevator. Ambassador Brix always super professional and polite, me rather disturbed, just waking up in the middle of exam week, in the middle of study week, or at the morning celebrating that the exam week was finally over. So in March, Corona hit Europe, Austria, and also our lovely community at the DA. And frankly, it hit hard. I can remember being upstairs in the Tipsy Weasel. We watched the press conference of the federal government. A lot of us were actually gathering there. And for us, it felt like it's over now. It was March, we had plans for our DLG, we had the study trips, we had the spring to come, all the lovely moments outside. It felt it would be over. What have we been doing at this moment? We had one of the receptions in my room upstairs. I can remember. Michael was there and said the phrase, the time we had was beautiful. And it really felt that it would be something, or something would be ending at the moment. So I got a Duke Ellington vinyl, put it on the turntable, we got a bottle of wine. I won't mention Susie Wittner, who was also there, and Maciej Kulis. And we were discussing the situation and how it will go on. And like I said, it seemed that the DLG and also our lovely community will somehow fall apart. But this didn't happen. We stood together. We shouldered the burden due to Corona, which we had to deal with. We did it together. We grew as a community together. And we had some tough arguments in this time within the DLG, how to continue, how to deal with this situation. But we discussed it always with mutual respect and finally found some common ground. And afterwards, I particularly discussed the issues with Jenny as my role as a core speaker. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for all your efforts. And the same is true for NY Kepler Schlesien and Ambassador Brix. Thank you very much. And one might think the same here today, like in March 2020. Well, it's over. But it isn't over. And my lovely grandfather, in the end of his 90s, always says, no one can take away from us or force us to forget what we learned in our lives or which experience we made along the way. But it's not just that we will always have our time here in Vienna, to quote Humphrey Bogart from Casablanca. Even though it feels like we were kicked out here from our sheltered community, from our sheltered nest far too early, our common journey doesn't stop here. I don't know where we will all end up. Some will have prestigious jobs in the private sector as distinguished owner of a Prosecco farm. Some maybe will join the public service. Others will maybe live as bohemians in the Quartier Latin à Paris, living la vie de bohemien, to have your little tribute to our French department. It doesn't matter, because we have a solid community. We were able to build solid fundaments and solid friendships here in our beloved DLG family. And I have no doubts, my dear friends, I have no doubts at all that in 20 years, some of us will meet somewhere around the world, sitting there with a glass of red wine, thinking about the glorious days back in Vienna, and maybe feel just for a few hours, or maybe it feels just for a few hours, like back in our 20s, here at this time at the DA. So let me finish with 2 more points. Firstly, let us never forget what we learned here from each other. Let us uphold the culture of civilized dialogue and respectful discussions. Let us try to contribute in whichever political system one would live, but let us try to contribute in the best way to society in the given framework. Let us uphold cooperation rather than division. Let us try to unify rather than divide. And let me finish with some personal words. I came here 1 year ago, entering the premises, and I didn't know anyone here. Today, when we're going to leave, I will leave with dear, dear friends. And yes, I say it once again, and you know, for most of you it's the same, leaving with a second family. Let me thank you for welcoming me here with open arms. Let me thank you all for every enriching conversation I had with you guys. Let me thank you for all the special moments, every invitation, and thank you particularly for making this one of the best years so far in my life. Thank you.
dear graduates, I approach you for the first time saying, dear graduates, congratulations. My task is only to finish officially this year. As Sara said, it's a rite de passage. So it's a new life in front of you. But you said rightly, the friendship will last. I can say from my own experience, I am from the 17th DLG. There is friendship, and that people are everywhere around the world in very different jobs. Maybe one by one I can tell you stories about your colleagues from this DLG. You will have similar experiences. And stay together. Use us as your family whenever you have, when you feel you want to. You will always be welcome here. But now let's thank the string quartet of the orchestra of the University of Vienna. Thank you very much. It's good to have real music, especially now. Thank you. And we invite you to a reception, which is possible outside. Please be aware of all the physical distancing. I thank you, and I officially close this ceremony and leave you to go into the world. Thank you.